What's up, guys? And we are back. Peach Fuzz, episode 9. Ian, how we doing?
We're doing well, man. Glad to be back. Missed last week, dying with the flu. So glad to be back this week. Talking some high school baseball. Another good week we had. Good week coming up. We're in the thick region play now. So some stuff to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, got a couple. You got a couple shout outs, Peach Fuzz shout outs this past
Yeah,
week.
Yinley, Alaska. When I went and saw them at Etowah, North Paulding was good. Went this past week. Who shot me? Couple parents from Noonan as well. We're all in watching every week. Carrollton as well. Guys really love it. I was talking to Gunnar Foken's dad, and he was like making Gunnar listen to it. He's like, "They're talking about the guys you're playing, man. Like this is when you need to listen. Like we're
That's
not
the intel.
there. So it's pretty cool to hear people are listening and tuning in every week. Kind of fires me up to know you guys really care about this, and I feel like Sunday nights are really working out. I think this is the move.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, and like we talked about it before, but like this year for you is so much more, probably more fun for you, honestly, because you know the faces. You know the faces, you know the players, the parents are starting to know you. And like that's my favorite part of this whole thing is like, yes, we got to video everything, but then we also want to talk with the parents and talk with the players pregame because I know we're both there super early. So that's always really fun. We never really use the comments much over here, but guys, throw some stuff in there. If you want to hear us talk about some things, I threw a poll up on Instagram earlier with a couple things on there that we might touch on. But first one that's in here, Central Lions still going strong, 12-0, which they were actually a team that we've had circled for a long time, or not a long time, but since the summer to go see. We knew Coach Presnell over there had 4 freshmen that we really like in the lineup, and they got a media guy that does a really good job. I guess he broadcasts their games and everything. And I follow him on Twitter, and he's always like, "What's the best thing about going 11-0?" He's like, "The chance to go 12-0." So I'm like following these and like seeing those daily. So it's been a good run for them. They beat a good Villa Rica team opening night. That was a fun one for me. So I think I had them back on the schedule to try to check back in on maybe this week actually against Heritage. There's a couple guys on Heritage as well, so that would be a pretty good matchup. But yeah, shout out Central Lions with the 12-0 start to the season.
Yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, another big start for another team, McEachern. I know we've talked about on here. We had Coach Autry on as well, but 13-0 on the young season so far. This is a team that won 12 games last year, so have already topped the win total in a year and not even middle of March yet. So big shout out to them. They got a big region series coming up this week with Hillgrove that we should be out at a game for as well. So that's big. Just a big shout out to them again as well. A really young team with some seniors that are coming together, and it's fun to see what happens when you're playing as one unit.
Yeah, and it's got to be. I guess it's got to probably be McEachern and Harlem, probably for the best records in the state right now. Correct us if we're wrong, but Harlem at 13-0, and then McEachern at 13-0 as well. Harlem's one on the list too. Tough spot to get to, but we definitely got to get down to see them soon. But I guess first, last week, I know we had a busy week. I was 4 out of 5 days. I think you were close to the same with a pretty crazy day on Saturday. So get us started. Where'd you kick off your week at?
I started last week. God, Monday seems so long ago now.
I was just talking about it. I was just like, "Hey, where did I go?" I was asking like my wife, "Where did I go this week?" But Monday
at the end of the week. Oh, North Oconee and Blessed Trinity. So
that's right.
See, that seems like 2 weeks ago. So good to see that team as well. Blessed Trinity still looks like a well-oiled machines offensively. Missing a few pieces with Terrence Bowen and Caden Dawson being down last week with some little hamstring tweaks, but they should be back this week for reach and play. But Carson Zagron's still hitting the crap out of the baseball right now. I think he's got up to 5 or 6 bombs already on the year. He's attacking fastballs early in the count, getting to his power pretty frequently, using the whole field. Both of them, Aiden as well, really hitting his. And having those guys in the middle of your lineup when you already have guys filtering throughout is huge. I know you saw him later in the week in a big matchup with Parkview. I know we could touch on that as well. So good to see them again twice in a week. So that's huge.
Yeah, definitely. I was over at for Forsyth Region opener between Lambert and Denmark. I didn't really get a chance to see Denmark that much at Georgia Day Out Club, and obviously there was a lot of guys that we know the names of and everything else. But they got a lot of young guys in their lineup that we want to keep tabs on throughout the year. Shout out to Daniel Biondo, just absolutely going off. There's a Forsyth account that's keeping up with like some hits and stuff. And I think he had like 20 hits last week or something crazy. So the kid's hitting. He had two when I was there, two lineouts and one barrel for the go-ahead run. It ended up being a really strong pitching duel between uncommitted Mason Cassaro and uncommitted 26 Curtis Mayer. Mayer actually tossed a no-hitter in that one, which was really impressive. And man, that kid, like, it seems like he does that time in, time out. I think he might have had a no-hitter last year too at Georgia Dugout Club. But man, it's still good. Like, it's pitchability lefty, upper 70s, low 80s, but it looks like it's like, 83, 84. Yeah. It just gets on hitters really quick. Mason, same way. Mason's a bit of a lower slot than Curtis is. So that was a really fun matchup. Daniel ended up knocking in that RBI. I think it was 2-0, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. I think it was 2-0. Yeah, good region opener for me there. And then Tuesday, was that Blessed Trinity Parkview for me? Or was that Wednesday?
That was Wednesday.
Yeah, Tuesday was Creekview. Creekview versus Laster for me. Got a chance to get out to see uncommitted 26 Garrett Ray and looked really, really good. Up to 88, carrying 87 into the probably fourth or fifth inning. So a really good game there. We got to see Daryl McDowell for the first time since Super 60, and he was the best I've ever seen him. Up to 93, handful of pro guys in the stands watching him. 3 pitches, looked really confident. So it was definitely good to see him. And I know Laster ended up sneaking 2 more wins over Creekview, 1-run games in both of those, which is really tight. So Creekview's got a good pitching staff. They just got to get the bats rolling, minimize on the errors, and see what they can do in that region. But that was a good game for me. Back-to-back, I would say, pitching duels. Kyle Montgomery came through for Lassiter, a couple big hits, and then Caden Lindsay as well went dead center to one of the hardest parks, in my opinion, to hit a ball out as is at Creekview. It seems to be a graveyard. But both good looks at them and good look at DJ. And like I said, good look at Garrett Ray as well. So Monday, Tuesday were both pitching duels for me.
Yeah, Tuesday was an off day for me with some personal stuff for me to handle, but I had a good day anyway. But Wednesday got back out in some terrible conditions pretty much across the state for everybody. I talked to a ton of parents this past weekend that nobody had a good time. Everybody kept asking, like, were you out Wednesday? Did you have to go somewhere Wednesday? Like, yeah, we were there. Like, everybody was at a game. I went down to Noonan to see Noonan and Carrollton, a pretty competitive matchup there with a couple of really quality teams. Carrollton's got one of our favorite lineups in the state, depth throughout, and our guy Hayes McGinnis shut it down again in another quality outing. 11 Ks over 6, threw 3 pitches for strikes. The fastball curveball was really working. A ton of in zone misses, but the fastball was really filling up the zone. Wind was blowing out probably 25 miles an hour to dead center, so like anything in the air was probably extra bases. And he
same thing for me.
Pitched extremely well and really filled it up and like pitched unafraid. Showed confidence throughout. Showed some fire on the mound. Was really pitching in some big spots, and it was big to see that again. Also came through late, and they had a big score. Ended up scoring a bunch of runs in the inning, but he broke it open early with the backside single to score 2 to give him the lead in the 7th. Or in the 6th. So that was huge to see, and it was a good night for Noonan. In some bad conditions, and nice to see Hayes with another big outing in his offense.
Yeah, I saw it was a big week for the McGinnis brothers as well. I think William, the freshman, I think he had a huge week at Georgia State, 8 hits or something crazy. So it's always cool seeing, I guess, both McGinnis brothers in the lineup, and who knows, Hayes might just call it the trio and head on down the road to Georgia State here in a few years. But yeah, Wednesday for me, same thing. It was like I drove to Parkview. Obviously, you had just saw BT, but I really wanted to see Parkview, especially coming off a pretty strong week that they had. And they had sophomore Andres Jimenez going, which is a guy that we've liked for quite some time now, but he showed up to preseason All-State, which not showed up. We knew he had grown a lot, but he looked really good in a really high competitive game. He was itching to pitch this game, but the weather turned for the worst. It was raining sideways, 40s at one point, but him and Contreras really got off to a good battle. BT kicked a couple balls around, early in the game. Malachi Washington led it off with a double down the line, which I believe he had like a 3-4 hit game with a big knock later in the game as well. But man, Jimenez looked really good, especially in those conditions, up to 87, 88. Carried it as well. Really good feel for the breaking ball, especially in those conditions. But Contreras, that was my really first look at him this year. I know you got to see him at Georgia Day Out Club, and he was up to 92, 93, really spinning it. I think everything's just starting to come together for him. And same thing, I got a Carson bomb backside off, over the cages at Parkview in right field. Cade Kiz is the one that got him going, though, with a backside bomb as well. So, but probably the most exciting thing for me that game was Gavin Green behind the dish. He threw out 3 guys. One of them was like a big time spot. I think when they might have been down a run or two to get a runner in scoring position. But obviously, like handling Contreras is no joke because at times it can be maybe a little effectively wild, especially with the splitter that he has in those conditions. Yeah. But he handled it really well and threw out 3 guys, which was good to see in that type of environment for Gavin, which I don't think that environment phases him, to be honest. So I think he thrives in it. But yeah, that was a good one. BT ends up squeaking it out there. But man, this Parkview team, we were going over the classification rankings. They're going to be kind of climbing up that a bit, and in the Power 25 as well. I really like what they had going. Grant Benefield came out of the pen for them, righty arm that was spinning it really well out of the pen and up to 86, 87, I believe. So, yeah, watch for them. Oh, probably the best thing of the night was Malachi Washington on the mound. In a semi-close game, I honestly didn't even realize he pitched, and then he K's the first dude and gives him a little one of these. But, man, he was fun to watch that night. Like I said, 4 hits. One was like triple-digit EV right back up the middle. Later in the game, chasing, I think he ended up putting them within 1 or 2. So yeah, really fun game for me in less than ideal conditions, but these guys didn't care in that situation.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of getting used to this up and down weather we've had so far this spring. It seems like we get a tease every other day with some really good weather, and then you turn around and like tomorrow, I think it's going to be like in the 40s and raining. So like we're back to it for another crappy day, and then we're in, I think 75, 80 later on in the week. So
yeah,
it's
later
just like
in the week.
It's crazy how up and down it is right now. But later on in my week, where else did I get out this week? Went out and saw Kings Ridge again, being able to see that lineup as well. Marcus Ward is on one right now. I think he's going on like 10 hits in his last 3 games. He was 3 for 3 in this one. Had an inside the park home run to dead center field that wasn't cheap. Off the bat, it burned the center fielder and like was on his horse, and it wasn't a throw around the field. Little league inside, he really showed the true plus speed he shows there. Had a couple backside hits as well. The night before, he had, I think, 2 doubles and 2 triples as well. So he's really all over the baseball right now for that Kings Ridge team that seems to be putting together a ton of runs seemingly every other night. And
quality opponents too.
Yeah, quality opponent, really tough schedule to open the year. And then after that, I went down to McDonough on Friday. First time getting down to Union Grove. A lot of parents were shocked to see me down there, but this is just like what we do. This is what I wanted to see. Get down to see a guy like 2028 middle infielder Isaiah Cador, guy we've liked a lot in the summer. Another one on that Brave scout team with Daniel Biondo and a few other guys. Thomas Davis, who had a bomb this week as well on that team. And just that team has really got a ton of underclass dudes that are showing out earlier in their high school careers. But the big winner that night was Jameer Johnson, center fielder for Locust Grove. It's the first time I've seen him since probably early on last summer. I don't get a chance to see him a ton in the summer. So I've been hearing a lot about some of the stuff early this spring. Saw a bomb he hit a few weeks ago for the first one of the year that landed like middle of a parking lot or something like that. The power is just pretty understated. And then came out and hit a ball to dead center in a graveyard on Friday night on a hanging breaking ball. Hit it dead center field, cleared the wall with ease. Really got into it and didn't have a chance to knock it out. Some of the more impressive power I've seen out of the class so far. 2026 just committed to Cincinnati as well. Got out of state, which is crazy to me. Leaving Georgia, like I'm surprised to see that. But the tools are there. It was 12 seconds around the bases from home to third on a triple as well. Showed a huge arm in center. Really played well, and just a guy who stood out as probably one of the more impressive overall profiles I've seen so far this spring. You know, like from top to bottom, it was as good as it gets, and he's a guy we're going to really focus on as we get in later on the spring and into the summer.
Yeah, definitely. And then good old Liam Collier's slapping it around a little bit.
Yeah, man, just keeps hitting. I think he's hitting like close to 600 so far this year. Bail little ball backside for a double. Christian Cologne as well, a guy I liked a lot last spring.
Good start on the mound.
Best outing of the year so far. Scuffled a little bit in his first few innings or first few games, and then came out Friday and was lights out up to 89, struck out 11. Really kept the guys off balance the entire night. Breaking ball was really good. Mixed in the changeup more often than he should. Probably could have mixed it in a little bit more. Wasn't getting a lot of calls on the inner half, so we kind of went away from it. But that's a pitch that looked really good for him as well. He probably could have had an even better night than he did.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like he'd grown a little bit too, just seeing him. Yeah. I know we saw him late summer. He was a guy that showed really well at MPI, I believe. I think he had a really good outing at MPI. I was able to get over to I was able to see a pretty good 1A matchup with Fellowship and Wesleyan on Thursday. Fellowship had been on the schedule for a while to get to see. Off to a pretty good start this spring and faced a tough Wesleyan team. This Wesleyan team, especially when they have Grayson McCollum on the mound, it's who they had going. I mean, they got a shot to beat anybody in that classification. Just with Knox Bingham, Carter Hayes, McCollum, Bryce Gillis in the 4-hole, and the Wright brothers. I think they just have a really well put together lineup that's been playing together for the last couple of years. Fellowship came out swinging early, got up 2-0 on Grayson, shook him up a little bit. Reed Harkey triple down the line, and then Jake Brandon, who was one that I was really excited to see. I honestly hadn't seen him since Junior Future Games last summer. Looked really good, hit pull side triple to score Harkey, and so they took the early 2-0 lead, and then Wesleyan had a big 4-run inning that they ended up coming back and ended up getting that win. But good matchup there. I really like both squads. Coach Oliver's doing a really good job with the guys over at Fellowship, and then Coach Pope at Wesleyan, same thing. Really good stuff at that one. Wesleyan's going to be one to watch, I think, in that classification. I want to see some other arms from them, but last two times I've seen them, Grayson's thrown both, but Grayson looked really good, especially after giving up the 2 in the first. He settled in and went the distance for him to pick up that win. But yeah, that was my week. I think, like I said, 4 out of 5 there, but you had quite the trip on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, wanted to get out. It was not a ton of games on the slot on Saturday, so I wanted to try to take advantage of just something I could. So I wanted to get out to East Georgia for a quick little trip. I guess we can call it East Georgia. Went out to Oconee County for the early slot to get a chance to look at Cole Johnson, who's had probably over a handful of scouts in every game he's had so far this year. It was really hit for power, hit for average, showing some real tools in center, like he did on Saturday again. Made a couple diving plays in center. First inning, I think it was a second ball off the bat. He made a full speed diving catch in center. That was really, really impressive. Had a backside RBI knock in the game as well. Didn't see a ton of pitches to hit. Game ended with him on deck on a really ugly play as well, which was funny. But it was good look at that. I'm gonna get out there again, I think, next week to see him again. And then from there, I scooted up about an hour north up to Carnesville to get a look at the number 1 player in our 25 class, and Ty Peoples in Franklin County, who was playing Sonoraville. It was a good look in that matchup as well. Had a couple big home runs from, excuse me, I believe. Let me see who went yard here. I sat down and almost missed it, but Cade Gibson and Easton Galley went back to back on 2 pitches. Really, really interesting park in Franklin County. First time getting there. The seats are raised around the park about 15 feet from the field, so it's a little tricky to get video and get down and figure out your bearing
angle.
Figure out your bearings when you get there. I was very confused because I ran up on game time because I was trying to. It was a doubleheader for them. They played at 1 and 4, and I had about an hour drive, and I was trying to cut everything in between. I had scouts you sure you want to do this? It was a Saturday. It was the early game. Had to do it, but great to see them. Ty hit another double. But Keith Harbin is a guy that I really kind of fell in love with after leaving that. A guy we saw a lot over the summer for the 16U Divine team. He's going to be 17U this summer. But middle infielder, really stocky bat to ball guy. Uses the whole field well. ended up hitting the last barrel, had the last barrel of the day to end a run rule. But really just lives on the barrel, to a great approach the whole day. Did not expand the zone, made a couple of good plays up the middle as well. And just somebody that just looks the part, uncommitted 2026, can really help with recruiting class at the next level, does everything well, not going to hurt you. So that's a guy I think we're going to really lock in this year, and somebody we're going to be excited to see maybe a top prospect game here in June.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Peoples, I think I just saw he just broke the career walks record for the entire Georgia. I think I saw for the whole state, which is crazy. Just thinking of like some hitters in the past, there's got to be some like Clint Frazier and probably Michael Chavis. Two that come to mind that I was playing against. Like they had to get walked a ton, so that's
even
crazy.
Even somebody like Bear Jones recently.
For sure. Yeah, insane. But speaking of the uncommitted 26s, we came out with the Peach Performers last. What did I do? I accidentally posted at the wrong time, but ended up going out Saturday morning officially and stayed on there. But our goal was our goals when we go to games, right? We kind of talked about it in that article. It was like 4 things. Find the upperclassmen that are uncommitted that need some love that we need to find. Seniors, especially juniors, but especially seniors as well. One of our guys got out to see at Daresville with a really good arm in Jack Nelson, uncommitted 25. Sequoia has a really big one, and Andrew Shaw, left-handed arm, uncommitted 25 as well. So, our goal when we get out of these games is find the uncommitted guys. Secondly, find up-and-coming talent. We both chase the younger guys, but you definitely go more all in on the draft stuff, and I'll chase around the younger guys and whatnot. So, find the 28s, 27s that are playing, especially the 27s, obviously being future games here. Those are kind of our, the ones we have starred throughout the spring that we got to check in on. Next one is the guys we already know. Whether that be the 27s that we've seen the last couple of years, whether that be the 26s we've seen for the last 3 years, like see the guys that are catching helium, whether that be draft stock, whether that be rankings, whether that be invite-only events, whether that be for future games. And then lastly is the draft, all eyes on July, which, you saw a handful of these guys in Reed, Stiltner, Livingston, Peoples, Stutzer, so Candy Golden as well. So, that's our goal with this piece is to highlight those 4 categories. Sometimes we'll save these guys that we see in the week instead of putting them in the scout blog. We'll throw them in Peach Performers, typically do a write-up there. This time we did all videos just with the breakdown. So I think that's a cool piece coming out that will probably go every other week, I think, just to have, 4 or 5 games under the belt for us. So that one's going to be really fun to do. Catching helium guys like Mikhail Stevenson, best that you've seen him, Belmont commit.
3,200 breaking ball,
Yeah, too. So that's going to be a fun one that we're going to put out here, consistently the rest of the spring and probably even into the summer. We'll probably roll that one out. We have directors lists in the summer, but I think this is just something different to mix up.
For sure.
One thing I just looked at, make sure your coaches are submitting you guys for Diamond Notes. They should all have the email link. We tweet it on Sundays as well, but we want to try to highlight you guys, especially guys with big weeks. We'll highlight all you guys in that Diamond Notes section, and then we'll award a player and pitcher of the week each week. And so I figured we might highlight a few on here as well. First one that stands out, AJ Rice, another no-hitter.
Yeah, I'm just going over this. I don't know if the last time he's gave up a hit.
That makes that 2 on the year. 16 strikeouts in that one. 1 walk, 0 hits, 0 runs, 7 innings. So that's the second no-hitter of the year. I'll be there Tuesday against North Hall, so that one's going to be really, really fun. Who else we got on here? Sullivan Ada for Woodstock. Needed a big win from him. He stepped up with a complete game shutout in the first region start against Riverwood. Another uncommitted 26th there. Ethan Garrett went no as well. Future gamer, Georgia Southern commit on 65 pitches, which is huge. Pretty impressive there. 6 innings, 6 Ks for him. Who else we got on here? Thomas Cook's been on here a couple times. We got to see him at where was that? Colquitt County this fall, and then at preseason All-State as well. He tossed 5 innings, 8 Ks. He's having a good year, pitching, season stats, 22 Ks on the year, hitting 409. So good two-way stuff there from Thomas Cook. Denzel Watkins was a guy that we were actually in attendance for. One of our guys was out at that matchup. Him and McGarvey went toe-to-toe. I thought that was a really fun matchup, QB1 versus QB1.
For sure.
So that one was good that we got out to see that one. But he threw really well, 6 innings, 1 run, I believe was the home run, I'm assuming. I forgot to ask Avery that. But 8 strikeouts from him. On the year, he's got 18 innings pitched, 9 hits, 4 walks, 23 Ks, and under a 1 ERA. So good stuff there from Denzel Watkins. He was one that I really liked. I found and kind of ran across in the playoffs last season, and we had him circled to get out to see. Jackson Peavy threw another good one. We're looking at 54 strikeouts and 22 innings this year for him.
Huge.
So good stuff there from old Peavy. So yeah, that's kind of the handful we have there. Be sure your coaches submit them. Like I said, make sure even if you send them the link and they can fill it out with all your stats, we want to highlight you guys each week for this. Kind of a good idea. Kind of just came across it while we were chatting here, but we'll start shouting some of these out on here each week as well. So stay tuned for that each week. I think that'll be kind of good. Trying to see who else. The reason I thought of that was Marcus Ward. Hopefully we can get him in there. I think the week he had 10 hits or something crazy, 10 for 12.
10 for 12 that didn't strike out, walked twice, had 3 doubles, 3 triples inside the park, home run, 11 runs, stole some bags as well. Like kind of did everything for that team, leading off as well for them, playing a really good center field for Kingsbridge as well, kind of bringing that whole offense together.
Yeah. Well, let's move over to a little classification rankings. We always get these updated tonight and then, get them posted tomorrow. Biggest one, North Paulding, Walton.
Yeah.
Really good matchup there. And Walton comes away with the sweep, which is going to end up being big later in the year. But I don't think North Paulding is down by any means. If I know them, they're probably going to bounce back pretty quick. But yeah, talk to a little bit about these 6A contenders we got going on.
Tough way to start region for North Paulding. You go from Etowah to Walton, who's been probably one of the hotter teams in 6A so far this year. Has looked really scrappy since we saw in that first week at GDC. The bat to ball for that team is impressive, 1 through 9. They don't strike out a ton, and now you're seeing some contributions from guys like Dom Rossi, a 28 catcher for them. He's been
in there every day, it seems. Here recently.
Yeah, find a day in the lineup now pretty frequently. So that's huge for them. If he can get to that power that he's shown for us multiple times in the past, that'll be huge for that lineup. Moving forward, as they got a tough region matchup this week again, Walton heads to Cherokee.
That's what I just peeked at. 6-0 from Cherokee as well. So they're off to 2 sweeps, which is huge.
So it's a big region matchup. I know Reed Worley's fired up for his game against Walton in that series. I know that's one of the big ones on his schedule for the year. So
that's the thing about them is like they have him going. If they can get that win game 1, that lineup scrappy enough to make something happen game 2 and 3, especially with the double header format. I keep going back to that. I don't know why I can't wrap my head around it. It just the Friday double headers just seem weird to me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's odd. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I get it not being on a school night. Like, obviously, all the kids, I'm sure, are juiced up for it. They're pumped for 2 games on Fridays, itching to get out of school. But I don't know. Something about it, just the longevity of it just doesn't seem to play in the player's favor. I think it's asking a lot from them, especially if you lose those 2 and then you're trying to bounce back for that 3rd. I feel like the momentum shifting to obviously the teams is one, which that's any case, but I don't know. Just it'd be different if it was the first 2 games instead of the last game, but the last 2 games is just kind of weird to me. But other than that, Buford, man, Buford. I really like that lineup. I went out to see them last weekend. I think they got a really good shot, especially with some guys like Caleb. What was his name? Top Prospect Games.
No.
Why am I blanking?
You just saw him too.
Yeah, I'll come back to it. But anyways, that lineup I really really like, and I think if they get a couple big pieces on the mound, I think that Caleb Griffin. Yeah, I had Caleb Griffin. Yeah. Caleb Griffin was really good when I was out there at Mountain View. But like I said, I really like the way the pieces that they're putting together. They can get a couple pieces to step up on the mound. I think they can make a good run in that 6A group. South Forsyth, really good, really big region win over North Forsyth. I know Cohen Rogers had a really big start in that first one the day I was over at Lambert, Denmark. So that's, like I mentioned before, like that Forsyth region. I think there's something really fun about that one. I think all the games are going to be really competitive. Denmark obviously coming away with the sweep is big there. Tiff County's rolling 11-1. We got the Lowndes series circled. I think Lowndes is going to get back in their groove. They got a couple guys coming back that they haven't had on the mound. So look out for them. Can never count them out. But yeah, that's kind of the contenders on that front. McEachern, like we mentioned before, McEachern's still coming. North Gwinnett, kind of their MO, just kind of their nice, steady, keep their head down, keep moving type deal at 10-1. Who they got tomorrow? Big matchup tomorrow. We were just talking about it. Brookwood. So they'll see. I'm sure they'll see Soto game 1. So that'll be a good matchup with them. Moving over to the old 5A. Hoko at the top, leading the way. Them and Pope. Hoko, Pope, Loganville. That's like the 3.
Yeah, if we don't see two of those guys in the state championship, I'll be almost surprised.
Yeah. Your guys, Dunwoody, you got out to see them early. They're off to a big 11-1 start. Villarica, 11 straight since that loss to Central. Yeah. So definitely got them on the schedule. Try to go get out to see them again. South Paulding, we got to get out to see them. I almost went over there the other day for their game against Sonoraville. Carson and Dominic over there leading the charge for them, which I did hear. Did you hear with Tyler on last week? He hit like insane nuke down at Tift.
Really?
Which I knew he always hit with 6-4-3, but like we never really saw
he's
him
hit a ton. Yeah, but that's funny.
Yeah, Tyler was like, dude, this kid hit like the farthest ball I've ever seen at Tift County. But yeah, they're 10-2, like a really sneaky 10-2. So we got to get out to see them soon. Let's look at their schedule. They got Rome coming up. They're at Central. That's a fun one, April 10th. And then they'll finish up with Villarica. So it looks like that last series of the year against Villarica is probably going to decide that region for them.
Yeah.
So those are always exciting. I think we got a few of those in our cards, as the year goes. Tiff first Lowndes, I think that one's going to be kind of for the region. Just glancing over some of these. 4A, the St. Boys over at St. Pius are rolling 12-0.
12-0, man, looking good.
Yeah, Ware County, Wayne County, both impressive years to start. 11-1 and 10-2.
Altoona continues to roll.
Yep, dude, Altoona with Coop. I mean, Underwood's putting together one of the more impressive years to start the year. I mean, he's got to have 4 starts in a row of double-digit strikeouts. I feel like.
I think he struck out 10 straight the other day to finish, and against a really good Roseville team.
Yeah, that's crazy. Central, like we mentioned, still 12-0. Kell still staying in there, 11-2. 3A got a big one circled this week. Number 2 versus number 3, Pickens versus North Hall. I think that one's been circled for a while. North Hall came out hot against GAC and ended up getting that sweep. But man, keep the eyes on GHC. I think they got they have a freshman shortstop, freshman catcher. Denzel on the mound, which appears can beat anybody that he faces. So keep an eye on them. I think they'll definitely bounce back. But Pickens versus North Hall,
already batting the leadoff for them, which is huge. Starting freshman leadoff in the leadoff spot, playing short. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot so far this year in Georgia. I think we got 4 or 5 guys here start playing every day at short as freshmen, so that's huge.
Yeah, Brody Lewis was a Hebron Christian kid that we didn't really know much about that you got to see, which was another one starting at shortstop. So awesome to see. Bradley Willingham at Central. He's another freshman shortstop. So freshman pair really there up the middle, him and Asher Allen. which is a really good duo. So, and Cherokee Bluff, I need to bounce back from them. We got to get out to see them soon, but they're getting their pieces back. They got KT back, so I'm sure he'll get them rolling.
Yeah, he's there. I was looking at their schedule today. They have Jefferson and Oconee County both coming up here in the next few weeks. So I'll definitely try to fit one of those games in for sure.
Yeah, 2A. We got Morgan County on the schedule here soon. We got to get out to see
Wednesday.
them.
Yeah, be there Wednesday.
Prince Ave had a big win over Buford. They're off to 11-2 start. North Cobb Christian, they're not playing, for whatever reason, they haven't played as many games as a lot of guys. So they're 3-4. Who else?
They played a tough team on Saturday, I believe. Lewisburg out of Mississippi. I saw that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so they're quality. I mean, they've played some quality teams. Decatur, Walton BT, Gordon Lee in that loss. I was at that game. So yeah, they've played some really, really tough teams. So I think they'll stay in the mix.
For sure.
What else? Yeah, Gordon Lee, 7-0 model. Forgot to mention them when we were talking about undefeated teams. I got them on the schedule. You've seen them, but I think have them on the schedule against Bremen. I'm gonna try to get out to see one of those. The Carter Allen start for Bremen. I'm planning on being there for that one. Jeff Davis, 9-2.
Have them on schedule as well later in this month against Bowden.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good one. That one's always a fun one. Social Circle, 12-1. Bowden's 6-6. Lanier County, 7-3. What about? Yeah, I mean, we didn't get out to see it. Probably would have been fun to, but like this Lanier County versus Charlton to open up the region play, two of the best teams in that classification. Irwin County's in there. Charlton ended up getting the wins over Lanier. Lanier ended up getting the wins over Charlton. So pretty good stuff there. But yeah, quick little rundown of the classification rankings. Power 25. Looks like we're going to have a couple new names in the mix, I think, just with some guys losing some games and some people winning some games. Obviously, that's how it goes. But, the power rankings we talked about, like we're taking strength of schedule into play. We're taking, the projected schedule. Player, talent-wise comes into play a bit. So that was always fun for us to do. Just the classifications aren't always going to match up with the Power 25 rankings. Just because we like with North Cobb Christian, like the teams that they've lost to are quality opponents. Same thing, BT Parkview. You don't really knock that loss against them too. So yeah, a little Power 25 action. We mentioned the future games. Exciting news from the future games. I know Florida boy Ian is excited for this one, but we're actually going to get another team for the 2027s. So we are going to have a Georgia-Florida line team. I guess try to get creative with the name. But, yeah, 25 players, half Georgia, half Florida, new team in the mix. What you think about that?
I mean, I'm excited, man. I mean, I think we had some couple guys on the border last year that were like kind of borderline Georgia-Florida guys that like could have played for either team. So like having a combined team is huge. Obviously, you get a ton of the South Georgia talent involved in this team would be awesome. Obviously, we've seen a lot of these guys in the past. So, yeah, being able to have those guys have a spotlight on them heading into the summer is going to be massive. And being part of that future games team will be huge, obviously. Excited to see that. There's some huge talent in the northern part of Florida as well that will be able to really like help the team as well. So I think it's gonna be a fun group to put together, and I'm excited to get rolling with that to match the all Georgia other team we have heading into the future games.
Yeah, so
it's a big year for us.
25, 12, and then probably 4 or 5 kids on select. So Georgia, we're lucky enough to get quite a few spots. Obviously, with this 27 class, I'm telling Shooter, I'm like, we need as many spots as we can get. So we're looking forward to that. Top Prospect Games is already up and running. Invites have been sent out for that. We're constantly evaluating throughout the spring, getting more and more invites sent out for it. So be sure to be at that one. Like we said, we're going to have more spots than we've ever had for the future games. So can't be more excited for that. Savannah, all those guys down in Savannah, mark your calendars, June 12th. June 12th will be at Benedictine for that. We want to try to get some guys from that event for the future games. That's the goal. South Georgia, North Florida, kind of combining those guys and coming together to play, all the other prep baseball states that are going to be there. So yeah, when I got the phone call for that last week, I was really excited for it.
Fired up.
Senior future games, same thing. Pretty good news there. Last year we were like regionalized with 2 other states. This year we're just with Florida. So we're starting out with 12 spots apiece, and then obviously that one spot's just kind of up in the air. See where we're at. So 2026's top prospect games, June 10th and 11th. That's the plan there. I got 12 spots for that one. So I'm really glad we added that. I think it's, especially now with the way recruiting's going, I think it's perfect.
I think it was competitive last year. The guys really enjoyed it. We saw some big commitments from that event as well. Some SEC guys. We had obviously Jackson Rose went to North Carolina as well. The guys are going to find you, and being in that same Future Games week in that environment is huge to be there. Obviously, everybody knows what this event can do, even at the senior level heading into the summer.
Yeah. So pumped for that one. And then obviously we'll have the Junior Future Games as well. Handful of invites have already went out for those from our preseason All-State event. We're still sending some from that event this week. So rolling those out. So man, we're going to be all over the place at Future Games, more than we've ever have. Adding another team. So we're going to have Team Georgia, Florida, Senior Games or Senior Future Games, and then 2 14U JFG teams. So, I mean, our schedule, it's not even going to be possible. Like we're going to have games at the same time. So interns, anybody that needs to intern this summer, we still got some spots left. Looking for good guys throughout the summer to help us scout, help us run showcases. We'd like to reward our interns with coaching a bit on the Junior Future Games team, which can get a little squirrely with a bunch of college kids coaching a bunch of high school kids. But it's a fun time. We talked about it
soon to be high school kids, not even high school kids. We have 8th grade.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, up and coming. Yeah. But man, it's fun. Like we talked about it last week with Fussell and Gallison and Van Sumeren, like probably one of the more fun weeks of baseball that they've ever had. And especially now, like getting those Georgia, Florida kids combined, I think there's probably going to be some rivalries there, and like everybody's always hunting for us on the JFG side, just because like we've been in the mix to win it, a couple of years, and they're always going to throw their best arm and hunting us. So, anyways, it's a fun event, but yeah, count down the days to that already. But man, this spring is going to be fun to, like you said, find some new guys. We're getting down to South Georgia here soon. You were already texting me today. Teasing
Friday. Yeah, Friday. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be somewhere new Friday. I don't know whether it's Savannah, whether it's maybe Warner Robins for a little Hoco doubleheader as well. I'm definitely gonna be out. Try to cover as much of the state as we can this spring. Obviously, I've been going over this list that I've already put together so far, and we're hitting a bunch. Obviously, Macon and Alpharetta and Rome, and we were out in Oconee County this week. We're going to Morgan County this week, and then somewhere on Friday, obviously some spots around here as well. So it's just the best time of the year. Getting some good weather now. We're going to region play. We got good matchups every week. We're seeing some big pitching early in the week. We're seeing some big bats late. It's been fun, and I'm just fired up to continue to roll.
Yeah, definitely. Before we roll, just quick touch. I know you just touched on it a bit, but kind of the week ahead. Looking at the Walnut Grove East Side Series. We're looking at that one, trying to get out to some of those games. Like I mentioned, Pickens North Hall, we will be at. Carrollton Westlake is another one that's kind of intriguing. We want to see Westlake. There's some guys on there that we want to see. But man, we got a whole list of schools right here that need to see, and we got a list of schools. So we're already ticking off a couple of those boxes this week. Citizens Christian, Pinewood Christian, Gatewood, Strong Rock, some of those guys that aren't in GHSA, like you guys are next. We're going to get out to see you guys. Strong Rock is always really strong every year. Pinewood as well. Citizen Christian, Blake Bryant, Thomas Gentry. We're going to get down there to see those guys pretty soon. Westfield School is another one down there. Warner Robins area. Westlake. Yep, we'll win Hoots and Brock Johnson action.
Yeah.
But man, we're taking the boxes for sure. We're already off and running to a really good spring. We're always loving getting out to games. I know you always get there early. I try to get there early as well, but it's just fun to interact and talk with everyone. And
It's half getting there early, half beating the traffic. Because it's brutal in the summer. I think
took me back roads to Parkview, and that was like I think I told somebody when I got there, I was like, I would have rather have driven to Houston County than the drive I just made. It was
that was my route to Union Grove on Friday was pretty brutal. There's like no escaping it driving like south of Atlanta. Like there's no way around it, even after you pass the bypasses. So
about Sunday mornings. I came through this morning. Sunday mornings is about the only time you're okay. But man, it's tough.
I agree on that.
We're getting through it. It makes for some long days leaving out at 2 or 3 and not getting back till super late. But man, it's worth it for sure. Any other big matchups you got your eye on? I know you got your schedule pretty well mapped out for the rest of the year, but
we're getting rolling. Yeah, I'm starting to put some matchups. Obviously, next week there's some big ones. Jefferson, Oconee County is something I have marked on the schedule this week. Obviously, Hillgrove and Ketron. I'm gonna definitely get out to one of those games. I think that's big. Decula, Mill Creek. That's probably where I'll be tomorrow. That's a massive one. Get a good chance to see Daniel Pierce this spring. Obviously, Reeston Durham. Jared Glenn has been on one recently.
Yeah,
Jacob Mayfield as well, uncommitted 26 guy that just he's gonna get to college and really kind of change a program when he's there. It's 6'6", some of the best power in the class, and it's still kind of figuring it out at the plate and in the field as well. So I think he's kind of the latest bloomer we have in this class. It's gonna really be a special piece to somebody's recruiting class.
Yeah, looking at a couple of these Instagram replies, I've never really done that. I guess I probably could keep doing it. We got Augusta baseball in the Augusta area. Obviously we were down there in the preseason, which we plan to get down there again next year. We were at Augusta Christian. But yeah, we're coming. We'll be there soon. Harlem, like we mentioned, Greenbrier, Augusta Christian as well. Guys are getting out to North Paulding. We touched on veterans. You got to see them. Brandon Mercer up to 93. Heat sheet. Keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. They got two 227s, batting 1 and 2 in the lineup for them that are really Jackson Eaton, I believe, and then another one. Name is escaping me. Again, might see them Friday. They have their doubleheader against Hoko at Hoko, so that's something that's tentatively on the schedule. So I know Hoko would be fired up to have us down there, so that would be big as well. So
yeah, favorites to win the state championships. Way too soon for that.
Yeah, can't do it.
Way too soon there. Top 4A teams, we talked about that. Oconee County talked about that.
Oconee County, man, sneaky team, man. A couple guys, a couple sophomores at first and third for them, and they got an uncommitted shortstop, Isaac Smith, really physical right-handed bat. Really liked the actions at short as well for them, uncommitted. Obviously, Cole Johnson's been huge. They've had a couple guys. Carson Fox has been big, both at the plate and on the mound. I think he threw a complete game for them the other night and was the leadoff bat as well. They're a sneaky team, man. They got a tough schedule, and they continue to win, beating good teams every week. Seems like they just had a tough matchup with Franklin County last week. I think they pulled out a big win in that one, so that was big. So yeah, they're a fun team to watch, man, for sure. Definitely excited to get out there again, and glad to see them this past weekend, and it was good to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I was thinking about it earlier today, but like teams near us, we've kind of ticked most of those boxes off already. We're obviously going to have to start circling back around to some of these guys in these big region matchups. It's so hard.
I go see Pope.
It's so hard for us to
back on the schedule.
It's so hard for us to decide like big region matchup, electric atmosphere. We don't want to miss it, but the games you went to on Saturday were awesome. You found, like you mentioned, the uncommitted guys. You ticked off the draft. That we talked about, and then you ticked off uncommitted 26s. So it's always hard for us to decide where we're going, but trying to be as many places as you want. Coming up on an hour here, I think that's about wrapped it up for this episode. This was really the first one that we've gotten able to just dig into high school ball, since we started. So excited to keep doing this each week. Just a quick refresher: classification rankings drop on Mondays. Power 25 drops on Tuesdays. Player of the week, Diamond Notes on Wednesdays. So your coaches still have time to get those submitted. So be sure to let them know. I can email them the link. You can send them the link straight from the Twitter post. We usually pin it at the top. So try to get those in. We want to highlight all of you guys. Outside of that, Scout Blog names are getting added weekly. We just dropped Thursday and Friday's games today. So all those are on there. I think we're pushing, 20, 25 players in that one from all of those. I think that's about do it. Top prospect games. Keep those, like I mentioned, those went out. I know everybody's got 1,000 things going on right now, but those do sell out fairly quick, with the gameplay. We can't just take, everybody, and obviously being invite only, it's pretty selective. So June 3rd and 4th underclass, June 10th and 11th upper class. Looking forward to those. Outside of that, we will see you guys out at the field this week. Ian might be getting a little bit farther than me this week, but we'll be in South Georgia very soon.
Yeah, we're coming.
Yep. See you guys soon. Thanks.